Welcome to our final virtual roundup of the 2023 season. We're so excited that you have decided to join us this evening. My name is Megan and I am the camp director here at Friendly Pines. And we also have our assistant director on controls. Unfortunately, his camera's not working tonight, but we do have Adam Esposito here in the office. And he's going to be helping out with running the behind the scenes show stuff, and then also helping out with some of the questions that we have that some of you hopefully will ask us throughout the presentation tonight. So, but yeah, we've got a really great little presentation that we've put together that it just contains a lot of burning questions that a lot of first-time families usually have for us. So, we've also collected some questions on the pre-RSVP form. And then for those of you that are just now joining us and didn't get a chance to RSVP, you can still submit your questions in the comments right here on the live feed. So we'll save those questions for the very end that you all ask, but we'll get started. So going to start off with just like a quick enrollment update. So we have 4 spaces total left in our summer 2023 season. So we've got 2 spaces for girls in session 2. That's a 2-week session, and it's I want to say it's June 25th to July 8th. And then we also have 2 girls spots in session 3, which is another 2-week session, and that is July 9th to 22nd. So if anybody is looking for to send your daughter or niece or anything like that to camp, we do have a couple 2-week girls spots still available. But
Session 1 is June 11 through 24.
Session 1 is June 11 through 24. Yeah. And then so, but other than that, we are completely full with wait lists for this summer. So we are still accepting wait lists. So if anybody is interested, there's no fee to join the wait list. So, and you do get second tier priority enrollment for summer 2024. So if you're at all interested in joining us sometime in the future, it's worth your while to join the wait list and just get a little bit of an edge for next year's enrollment when it opens in the fall. So just a quick enrollment update. And so we've got some fun stuff that we are going to be drawing throughout. We've got 3 drawings that we're going to be doing throughout tonight's program, and we're going to be utilizing the RSVP names from the pre-RSVP forms. So I believe Adam should be getting that up on the screen. It is ready. So first thing we're going to be raffling off is one of our camp cups. They're nice sturdy metal, very classic camp cups. So a note about these, all of these drawing prizes, we'll remind you at the end, but if you win tonight, we will need you to reach out to us so that we can make contact with you about sending you your free little fun gift as a thank you for being a part of tonight's presentation. So that said, we're going to do our first drawing for the Camp Cup.
All right, here we go. Our first winner is Reed Burris.
Reed Burris, congratulations, you've won a Camp Cup, so make sure you reach out to us. Alrighty. So really quick, just want to kind of remind everybody, we do have a pretty comprehensive COVID mitigation plan on our website. We're still currently in Tier 1, so basically that means really no restrictions for campers or anything like that. No pre-arrival testing, nothing like that. We'll continue monitoring things, as we get closer to summer and everything like that. But as of right now, on April 24th, I believe it is, we are still in Tier 1 and don't have any plans for the foreseeable future to kind of make anything more strict and go up in tiers. But that said, we always encourage people to, ask us questions if they have any questions, but definitely purchasing tuition insurance will be really a wise move to protect your investment. So if you get COVID before coming to camp and you have the tuition insurance, then that'll make it the sting, I guess, of not getting to come to camp a little bit better. So, but that's all on our website, friendlypines.com/camp and COVID, if you would like to take a look if you haven't already. And then we're already gonna do drawing number 2. So for this one, we have these fun Sport Tech shirts. They come in a bunch of different colors. We are a little limited on sizes, but for the most part, it's we probably have your size, hopefully. But we have this in pink, and then a lime green, and then like a forest green, kind of like my shirt. So yeah, so for this Sport Tech shirt, our second drawing, who's gonna be our winner, Adam?
Here we go. Gabriella Reed.
Gabriella Reed, congratulations. So make sure you reach out to us and then let us know what color you want and then also what size you'll need. So yay, drawing number 2. All right, so let's get into the main part of our event tonight. So like I said, these are just some classic, always like frequently asked questions that first-time families and returning families sometimes, but first-time families usually have for us. And we've kind of separate them into a few categories, like what to pack and talking about counselors and medical stuff and food and, you know, the parent experience, that kind of thing as well. So, so first things first, what do you need to bring to camp? So for all of the folks that are already enrolled, you should have received a couple weeks ago now, actually, the 2023 packing guide. And that is our comprehensive list of everything you possibly need to know about packing and preparing really for camp. It has all of our suggestions for, you know, what to leave at home, what to bring to camp, as well as just like a standard packing list. So that packing list will actually need to come with the camper as well. So, but some like basic stuff that we like to remind people, you know, bringing a sleeping bag is going to be important. Everybody will go on an overnight, or we call it the overnight, but it's like a camp out. They'll do that one night in their session, and that's where we go and we sleep outside in the woods, and they cook their dinner and they cook their breakfast. So the sleeping bag will be really important. It doesn't have to be anything extreme or major, like you don't need a -20 mummy bag with down feathers. You don't need that or anything. Like a Target, Walmart sleeping bag for kids, totally fine. It doesn't get super cold here. And usually that's what the kids will use in the cabin, and just we recommend like bringing like a fitted twin size sheet to put on the mattress, so it's not just like right on the mattress. But most kids will use a sleeping bag, but some kids will use, you know, like sheets and a blanket inside the cabin and just use their sleeping bag on the overnight. So it's kind of up to them, but I would say most kids usually just use their sleeping bag. It's a lot easier to make in the morning. We do cabin cleanup every day, and everybody has to make their bed, and it's a lot easier to just zip your sleeping bag than make a bed with sheets and everything. For our 2-week campers, we do offer a laundry service. So we send it out, and a local laundromat will do the laundry. And so that's for our 2-week campers. 1-week campers, we don't do laundry. So you'll just need to bring enough for the week. But regardless of whether you're a 1-week or 2-weeker, staying all 6 weeks, whatever, you should label everything. So anything you would like to get back if it gets lost, we recommend you label. So not just like your shirts and your pants and stuff like that, but like water bottle, the sleeping bag, pillow, anything like that. You know, socks, you know, you can label your socks, but sometimes people don't really care. But basically anything that you would like to get back at the end of the summer, you want to make sure that you label it. Rainy gear, like rain jacket, poncho, that kind of stuff will be important, particularly for anybody coming in like session 2, session 3, Explorer A or Explorer B, or Trail Seeker A or Trail Seeker B. That's usually when our monsoon season will start up, but really we could get rain at any point, so it's not a bad idea to bring a rain jacket. But if you're coming kind of in like early to mid-June, or end of May, then you probably won't need your rain jacket. But like we said, it's probably best to just pack it, and it can, you know, stay in your suitcase under your bed for the session if we don't get any rain. But it's probably better to have it than not have it. But definitely anybody coming in July, you'll definitely want to make sure that you bring rainy weather gear for sure. As far as like gear for activities, we have pretty much everything you could possibly need. You know, we've got tennis rackets and, you know, footballs and all the ropes course equipment and everything like that. But sometimes kids like to bring their own gear to camp, and that's totally fine. We definitely recommend it not being like expensive or important gear. So maybe if you ride horses at home and you're about to grow out of your like boots that you wear to the barn, you can totally bring those if you want to, bring your boots and wear those in Western or English riding or whatever. But we don't want you to bring your like really expensive, like pro level tennis racket or anything like that, because things get lost, things get broken, things get ruined at camp. That's just the nature of camp and having fun and everything. So, we have everything you could possibly need, but if you have some stuff that you would like to bring, that's totally fine. Just make sure it's not anything super special. And that goes for anything, not just activity equipment. You don't bring your favorite sweatshirt that you would be devastated if you lost it or if you got a rip in it or something like that. That can stay at home. You can wear it when you get home. Bring play clothes, bring stuff that you don't mind if you get tie-dye on it or something like that. So, so then on the next slide, you'll see kind of just an example of like what the packing guide looks like. And then inside we have some fun like graphics and stuff, like great things to bring to camp, stuff you should leave at home, all that kind of stuff. On that next slide, we have an example of what the packing list looks like. So that's actually what's going to be printed out by everybody and filled out. So we need one of these printed and sent with each camper. So it's like one per camper, not like one per family, one per camper, and put in their bags. Because the counselors will unpack the campers and then repack them at the end of the session. And so this is our way of trying to keep track of things that get lost or or go missing, kind of a thing. So we do our best to make sure everything gets sent home, as close to the list that was originally sent. So. As far as our counselors, so where do our counselors come from? They can come from really all over. We are really, really lucky. We actually have a really high population of returning campers this year. I want to say 10 of our new staff are going to be, that are like first-time counselors, they were former campers. So that's going to be really exciting. I know that they've all been like really waiting for the day that they're finally counselors. So, but we get a lot of staff just local Arizona. We get them from out of state, and then we even have international. So if anybody was here last year, if you remember like Freya, she worked in the horse staff. She's coming back. She's from England. And then we've got Mickey. She did like sports and stuff last year. She's coming back and she's from Australia. So really kind of all over. I would say most of our staff are from Arizona, but a good population are out of state and even out of the country as well. So our counselors go through a pretty rigorous process to get hired and get trained and get prepared to supervise campers in their cabins. So everybody has to have at least 3 references completed. We do a one-way recorded interview. We do a live interview. We do everybody, not just the counselors, but everybody, even myself, Adam, anybody, even people that have worked here for 25 years, everybody, every single summer gets a background check. And, we check the National Sex Offender Register, and, we do like a full comprehensive background check for every staff person. And then everybody also does a drug test upon arrival at camp as well. And then we do random drug tests throughout the summer. But our counselors spend an entire week of just training and like learning how to manage their cabins and, deal with homesickness and deal with bullying. We go through a ton of different camper scenarios. We just spend a lot of time on like training them and making sure that they're prepared, for the summer. So spend an entire week doing just that. There will be at least one counselor in every single cabin. Some of our cabins that are older, on the older side of things, they might have a second counselor. It just kind of depends. But every cabin will have at least one counselor. And then, what do we look for in staff? Just really a desire to work with kids. Kind of activity, like specialties or like needs for activities. That's kind of secondary. Definitely want people that are just really wanting to work with kids and have a passion for the outdoors and a willingness to work hard and are motivated and everything like that. So. All right, so medical stuff. Medical stuff, really important topic. It becomes more and more important every single year. We have a lot of campers that take, just regular medications, and that's totally something we can handle. So we will have 3 medical staff per session. That will be in charge. They'll be there for like basic first aid. So we've got like a bunch of over-the-counter stuff, Tylenol and, Robitussin and calamine lotion, those kinds of things. So if anyone has any bumps and bruises or needs an ice pack or anything like that, that's what our medical staff are there for. But another really big part of their job is administering medication. So if campers take stuff in the morning, or if they take it at night, or random times throughout the day, you will have already hopefully at least started filling out your medical paperwork. That mailing was sent out, gosh, I think it was like in March that we sent that one out. So hopefully that's going well, but that's where you can let us know about any medications that your camper takes. And they'll keep a log of it. You know, they are really good at communicating with the program office and myself if someone missed their meds. It happens all the time, but you know, if a camper forgets their meds, we'll hunt them down and send them over to the infirmary. So we make an effort to make sure that everybody gets their meds and takes things regularly. So allergies, all that kind of stuff. You know, we as far as like, you know, if there's like bee sting or anything like that, you know, we if they have like an EpiPen, they can bring that with them. We will have a couple EpiPens on site, but if anyone has any like extreme allergies, then they'll want, and they have an EpiPen, then they'll want to bring that with them. And normally all medication is locked up and kept completely under lock and key within the infirmary, but for something like an EpiPen that would need to be like an immediate need, then we would allow the camper to, or at least their counselor, to carry the EpiPen for them. So health history versus physical exam. So kind of going back to that medical paperwork I was just talking about. So the health history is going to be an online form that the parents or guardians are going to fill out. And then the physical exam is going to be the document that you take to the pediatrician or you take to nurse practitioner, and they're going to complete it like in person. So health history for parents, physical exam, like licensed medical professional. And those are two really important documents that need to get done before camp starts. How will you know if your child is injured? So we will, our medical staff will log anytime someone comes in, even if it's for one little Band-Aid, for a little tiny scratch. They'll log anytime anybody comes in. We won't call for like just, you know, basic little stuff. That would just become a logistical nightmare. But anytime that a camper might need to stay overnight for observation, or need to go to urgent care, or say we have to call the like 911 or take someone to the hospital, like emergency department, we would, the medical staff would contact the families then. But you know, if a kid had a headache one day and got some ibuprofen and they were fine, that is when we wouldn't call. But that said, you are welcome to call camp, and we can patch you through to the infirmary, and you can talk to them and see if your kid's if your kid has been in the infirmary. But we won't call you for like the little stuff. And then COVID stuff we kind of talked about. That all that kind of stuff is online, like our plan. So on the next slide, we have an example of what the physical exam, so that's going to be the one that you take to your pediatrician, and they need to be seen by somebody, and that person fills out the form. And then on the next page is an example of kind of what your login for your Camp Brain account, where you fill out your health history. So that's the online form that you as the parent would fill out for the camper. Food, so a really popular topic for sure. So we will serve 3 hot meals every day. Really, I know I'm biased, but really great, really popular, very highly complimented food. I know sometimes people think like, oh, camp food, that's probably not very good. Our camp food is very, very good. But lots of variety, lots of choices, lots of really delicious things that we eat here at camp. We do sometimes have picky eaters, and that's totally fine. That so far we haven't heard of anybody not getting like enough food. Usually what happens is picky eaters end up trying lots of new things that they maybe haven't ever tried before. You know, there's definitely a sense of like, not peer pressure, that's not really the right word I'm thinking of, but definitely a sense of like, you know, they're sitting at their tables and they can see other people like eating vegetables and eating this other stuff, and so they might be more willing to try things out. But that said, we really don't make meal time like a battleground. So the counselor, there's 2 counselors at every table, and they'll keep track of if certain campers are maybe not eating as much or having like being more of a picky eater kind of a thing, and they'll let us know, and we'll let the families know if we have concerns. But really, kind of once we're into the session, they're going to be running around so much that they're going to want to eat more and like be willing to try more foods. So but really what the meal is on the table, yes, there's lots of variety and there's sides and there's different options for people, but what we have on the table is what the meal is. So we don't do anything like, oh, I don't feel like having, chicken tonight. I'm going to go see if the kitchen can make me a peanut butter and jelly. We don't do that. We do like, this is the meal. You can have, something on the table here, but just remember, like if it's dinner, you're not going to eat again until breakfast kind of a thing. So, and we don't do like, oh, you didn't finish your vegetables, you can't have dessert. No, if a kid wants, spaghetti and garlic bread and then they want to have dessert, like that's what they're gonna have for dinner. Like that's totally fine. But the counselors will keep track and kind of observe, because they're the ones actually serving the food to the campers at the table, so they kind of are very aware and very involved with how much and what the kids are eating. So special dietary needs is a very hot topic right now. Short answer is we're pretty much able to accommodate most, if not all, special diets. So vegetarian, vegan, no red meat, no dairy, gluten-free, basic food allergies, like I can't eat chocolate or something like that. We are nut-free, so that's, a big one. So like anyone that has tree nut or nut allergies, they don't need to worry about that because we're on nut-free. But for someone that has like very, very, very extreme diet stuff, like they can only eat like 10 foods or something like that, or they can't eat a lot of foods, we would want you to reach out to us so we can have a discussion about that. It's not impossible for us to do. We just want to be, the average just like vegetarian is a lot different than someone who has like severe allergies and multiple different restrictions. So yeah, so it's not to say we couldn't accommodate that, but it's we would just want to have that discussion with you a little bit before camp, so we were prepared. And then we also do 2 snacks in a day. So we do one in the morning in between first and second period activity, and then one right after siesta. And so in the morning it's usually like pretzels or goldfish or trail mix or something like that. And then in the afternoon it's usually like fruit, like cherries or apple slices, or if it's really hot, maybe like popsicles or something. So plenty of opportunities to eat, and they'll definitely need it. So on the next page, we have a couple examples of menus. These are from actually family camp, but they kind of give you the gist of like an average, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But we've got like you can see there's like a main dish and then a bunch of different sides and then some beverage choices. And then we always serve dessert at lunch and dinner. So plenty of opportunities for dessert and for the sweet tooths out there. And then also listing kind of the snack and what we've got going for snacks. So just a little example of that. So adjustments in relationships. We get the question a lot, or we get maybe not the question, but the statement of like, oh, I would really like to send my kid, but they don't know anybody. And I'm concerned about that. And like, that's a very valid concern, but most kids that come to camp for the first time, they actually don't know anybody. So the people that come to camp with a friend are kind of in the minority, really. So that's the beauty of camp, is that you have the opportunity to make friends and get to know new people. And so we always encourage, like, yeah, come send them. Like, they'll make friends. It's okay if they don't know anybody when they get to camp, but by the time, like, within the first 10 minutes, they'll have a whole bunch of new friends with their cabins. So that we really strongly believe that shouldn't be a reason not to send somebody to camp, is like, oh, they don't know anybody. No, they're going to know lots of people and make lots of friends. So bullying, how do we handle it? So as I mentioned before, we spend a lot of time during our staff training week talking about, recognizing the signs of bullying, how to manage bullying, all that kind of stuff. So the counselors really keep an eye on their campers. They're always with them, and are aware of different signs of, there's a very overt, like, in your face bullying, and then there's like very subtle, like almost secretive bullying. And so we kind of teach them tips and tricks to distinguishing and figuring out if like some sort of bullying is going on in the cabin. So when the campers arrive to camp, they, as a cabin, will come up with what we call our pact. And that's basically just like the cabin's rules and stuff and like guidelines that they're all going to like live by. And so they work together to kind of make like a cohesive cabin community. And so the counselors can kind of rely on that and be like, hey, like we're not following our pact. Remember, like look at number 6. We said we were going to respect each other and not talk badly about each other behind each other's backs. Like what's going on with that? So, most things can be, handled internally within the cabin, but if we ever need to, then the counselors are aware of like the steps they need to take to, like, if they need to come and include myself or Adam or someone kind of like higher up. And in those situations, that's when we would reach out to families and let them know kind of the situation. But for the most part, like everybody's pretty good. I mean, we don't really have a problem with it. And then if there is a problem, the counselors are usually able to handle it. So, kind of similar topic, or like, managing things. So like missing home, very, very common. Everybody that comes to camp has an adjustment period, whether that's 3 minutes or 3 hours or 3 days. It kind of just depends on the person, and that goes for campers and staff. But everybody has an adjustment period, and it's totally, totally normal. But usually by the end of the first day, people have pretty much adjusted, but that's not the case for every single person. And the counselors will work with them. And, once we get into activities, that's when things are really, really easy for people to, stay focused on camp and not think so much about home. But if we need to, the counselors will sit down and have conversations with the kids, or they might involve, myself. And same kind of thing. If things are getting extreme or out of hand or anything like that, then we would be notifying the families as well. That said, if they are missing home and feeling sad, they unfortunately will not be able to call home. They'll be able to write letters and everything like that, but we don't do phone calls home for the campers. So I know that's sometimes a little bit hard to hear and a little bit like, oh, really? But one, it's just logistical. It would be a logistical nightmare. We have 200 campers, and if they all wanted to talk to their parents every single day, they wouldn't have any time to do any of the activities. So we don't do any phone calls to camp or from campers to home, but they can write letters and everything like that. What is the best age to start camp? As early as 6 years old if they really want to, but really whenever they're ready. So we'll have first year campers that are 6, we'll have first year campers that are 14, we'll have, and then everywhere in between. But yeah, it's really kind of, if they're ready to go to camp, then that's the best age to send them. I would say most of our campers kind of fall in like the 9 to 11 range, but that's just, I don't know. Yeah, there's not really a reason for that. But yeah, really any age is a good age to start at camp. And then when do we send them home? Very rarely do we does Friendly Pines choose to send the campers home. We really try and work with them because we really think like the best option is for them to be at camp. But we do have to consider like the other kids in the cabin and in camp and everything and make sure everybody's having a good experience. So in those cases, it'd be something like we've had multiple phone conversations, and like it's not a surprise that we get to that point, but it's really very, very, very rare. Like we really don't like hardly ever do it. Like I don't think we did it once last year. Maybe once. I don't think we even did it once last year. Like it's very uncommon that we would send somebody home. But yeah, if someone's not being a good camp citizen and kind of bullying and stuff like that, we'll work with them, but we want to make sure that everybody feels safe and is having a good time. So if they can't do that, then we'll have conversations with the parents and everything, and try and fix it before we resort to sending the kids home. And same goes for like if they have any missing home or homesickness kind of thing. So our activities. So how do the campers select the activities? They will receive a form 14 days before they come to camp. It's like an online Google form. It'll be emailed out, and they will rank their like top activity preference choices. So those, it's not like they're not like making their schedule. They're just picking, like ranking their top activities. And then the program office, which Adam oversees, they will make an individual schedule for every camper. So they've got like 8 slots available. Most of our activities are an hour long, Some activities like hiking, canoeing, challenge, some of the challenge activities, those are going to actually be 2 hours long and would take up, a couple activity spaces. But for the most part, everyone will have like 8 activities, and they will get a schedule, and it'll have green days and white days. So green days are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then white days are Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays. And then they get a little schedule printed out, and everybody wears a name tag, and we tape the schedule to the back of the name tag, so the kids can always know like what activity they've got going on next. But yeah, so they will get their schedules once they get to camp, and then if they want to make any changes, we do allow changes within the first couple of days. But really, we want to try and make sure that the activities that the kids sign up for are like what they would like to do. So what they are filling out their preferences at home, but when they get to camp, that's when they get their schedule, and we will do changes based on the campers' needs if they need to make any changes. Most of our activities don't really have any restrictions. They're kind of all ages and everything like that. We do have some activities, particularly like target sports or like ropes course stuff that's just like a little more technically advanced, that might have an age restriction. Stuff like archery, riflery, those are going to be like ages 10 and up. But we do have like BB guns and junior archery for the ages 6 to 9. But for the most part, there's really not really any restrictions, and they're kind of all ages within the activities. Most of our campers are going to be beginners in the activities, and the counselors will have catered their lesson plans to accommodate the beginners and everything. For our 2-week campers, they will have the opportunity to do what we call placements. They're kind of like tryouts, if you will, for some activities, particularly like horseback riding, tennis. If they take tennis lessons at home, they can do tennis placements to be placed into a higher level of a tennis class. But for the most part, all activities are like one level. Everyone's kind of same level. And if they've never done an activity before, they don't go to placement, or they don't go to placements, the default is always to put them in the beginner class. So, but most activities don't really have placements, but there are a handful for our 2-week campers if they would like to do placements. Yeah, and then, like I said before, we want to make sure that the campers are the ones picking the activities and doing what they would like to do, so we will default to what the camper wants to do. So even if mom or dad fills out the preference form, when the kid gets to camp, if they're decided they don't want to do swimming, actually, then we'll let them change it, and we'll stick with what the camper decides. So. All right, and then parent questions. So how am I supposed to cope with my child away for 2 weeks? So sometimes it's not so much the kid that's going to miss, struggle with adjusting to camp. A lot of times it's the parents, and that's totally normal, totally understandable. But we want everyone to know that we are here for you. So you can call anytime, literally anytime, and Adam and I are always have our phones on, and you can call anytime if you have questions or concerns or anything like that. We do what we call a morning report. So for the first 3 days of the session, and then every other day after that, the counselors will fill out the morning report for every person in their cabin, and they will kind of almost like grade them on different areas of how they're doing. So like how they're eating, how they're sleeping, if there's any medical concerns, and then have some comments and stuff. So that's kind of your way to call and check in and see how your camper is doing. So you call in, and someone in the office will pull out the morning report, and they'll say like, oh, it looks like they got E for excellent in all of their categories. They are improving their sleep. It looks like they had a rough night like 2 nights ago, but they're improving. And their comment from their counselor says that they're really adjusting well, seem really happy now, and enjoying Western riding as their favorite activity, and made a new friend, Dana, in the cabin. So they'll have like some comments and stuff. So that's how you can check in and see how your camper is doing. So first 3 days, and then every other day after that. So that's like the most up-to-date information. And then also we do post photos online. So that gives a lot of peace of mind to parents. They see their kid, in archery, with a big smile on their face, and they're like, okay, phew, they're still at camp, they're still happy, they're still safe, all that kind of stuff. So Yeah, and then can they call home to make sure I'm okay? Same kind of thing. We don't do phone calls home. They can write letters to you. You can write letters to them as the parents. You can also send an email. We'll fold those and like print them out, fold them in half, and put them in the mail. We do mail every day except Sundays. So if you wanted to send an email every single day, then they could have a letter from you every single day. But they would have to write like a good old fashioned snail mail back to you. How do wait lists work? What is the likelihood of getting in off the wait list? So this side of May 1st, so we've got a week left before our final cancellation deadline, is somewhat more likely. It's still not, it's really actually impossible to tell how likely it is to get off a wait list. But after May 1st, the entire tuition becomes non-refundable, so it's pretty unlikely that someone would just cancel. That's not to say it would never happen. We will call folks up to like a week before a session starts if a space suddenly becomes open. So it never hurts to just join the wait list. But basically, if a spot opens up, Adam will send you an email. If we don't hear from you, we'll send you a text. And then after about 24 hours, we will move on to the next person on the wait list. So yeah, really impossible to tell. You know, we've had wait lists of 15 and every single person gets in. And then we've had wait lists of 2 people and nobody got in, kind of thing. So it really just depends on the summer, on the session, all that kind of stuff. We do have a couple like opportunities to kind of help ease, I guess, the transition into camp. So one thing is family camp. So at the very end of the summer, right at the end of July and kind of that first week of August, we do have a few sessions of family camp. And that is where families get to come up and they stay in their own cabin and they all get to do the activities and eat the camp food and stuff. So a lot of times, like, people that are maybe researching for next summer will come to family camp the summer before, and they get to, you know, see what it's like to sleep in the cabin and see where everything's located and meet some of the counselors and everything like that. So that's a really fun opportunity. It doesn't have to be for brand new families. So we have a lot of alumni and current camp families, but that's a really fun way because we do get the question a lot, like from mom and dad, and like, hey, I want to come to camp. Can I come? Like, I want to ride the zip line. So family camp is kind of our answer to that. We also have a Slack workspace for our 2023 families. And so that's, if anyone's not familiar with Slack, it's kind of like professional instant messaging. But we've got different channels. So like all the different sessions have channels, and then you can like direct message like myself, or Adam. You can talk with other camp families. We'll send emails, but we'll also post the content of the emails within Slack, and so it's just kind of like a way to another way to connect with each other, kind of in the lead up to camp. So like if you have a question and you just want to type off a quick, almost like a little quick text message to us, then you can join our Slack workspace and do it like that. And then we also do camp tours. So we have an online sign up, and you can come and have a tour with myself or Adam and walk around the grounds, and same kind of thing. Just kind of see where everything is, get the lay of the land, and that kind of gives people a lot of peace of mind, is coming and doing a camp tour before the summer. So we'll be doing those up until kind of the middle of May, and then once we start like our official season, then we'll hold off on those. But once we're back in like August, we'll start those up again. So, but yeah, it's definitely worth a visit if you're available for a camp tour. So, any further questions? We'll save there's a couple more slides in here I want to get through first, and then we'll do the questions. But I just want to remind everybody, if you have any further questions, make sure you post them in the comment section. So, first thing, really want to just do a quick call for staff. We are very actively still hiring counselors, specifically male counselors. We are definitely in need of some male counselors. But if you know anybody that is available this summer and looking for a really great summer job, definitely direct them towards Friendly Pines. We're really looking for some more male counselors, and then a couple more like equestrian staff that can be male or female. And then if anybody has any fencing experience, male or female. So, so just want to spread the word. If you have like older siblings, like they're too old for camp and maybe they're in college, or you got a niece or nephew, neighbors, anybody like that, just want to spread the word that we are still looking for counselors. So, all right. So let's do the third drawing. This one is for the hat, the famous dad hat. It's very, very trendy. It says Friendly Pines Camp on the back. It's got the little 3-tree logo stitched on the front. So who is going to win the hat, Adam?
All right, spinning now. It's Daisy Meeks.
Daisy Meeks, congratulations. So make sure you reach out to us. So if you won the camp cup, make sure you reach out. And then if you won the shirt, make sure you reach out and let us know what color and what size you want. So you can send an email, info@friendlypines.com. We'll have our contact info up here in a second. Or you can give us a phone call. And then upcoming events. So final cancellation deadline is going to be a week from today, May 1st. And that is when final tuition payments are due. That's when we'll be processing final payments. So just want to keep everybody remind everybody about that. If you want to purchase the cancel for any reason tuition insurance, that's like the higher tier level of tuition insurance. You'll want to make sure you do that by then, or if they have any pre-existing condition, they need to do it by May 1st. But if you want to just do the basic plan, you can do that up until like a few days before your session starts. So just make sure if you're considering buying tuition insurance, if you haven't already, you want to keep that date in your mind. And then we did send out some information, I want to say it was last week, about our open house event. So that is coming up on Saturday, May 20th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can come up and have lunch. We'll do tours. A lot of our counselors will be here by then, so you'll get to meet some of the counselors. We'll do really fun drawings, so you can earn some like money off your tuition. And it's just a nice kind of relaxing afternoon in the Pines. It's I'm sure it's going to be a really nice day to escape the heat in Phoenix, if that's where you're coming from. So that's open to everybody, even if you're not enrolled for this summer. It's open to everybody, and that's going to be Saturday, May 20th. So wanted to make sure everybody knew about that. And then our contact information. So now we will answer some questions that folks have asked.
Okay. Give me just a second. Okay. Our first question here. Do you monitor the kids' water intake each day? You're going to have to repeat them back.
Yeah. So the first question is, do we monitor the campers' water intake each day? And yes, we do. So water bottle is like essential, like required. You got to have your water bottle at camp. And we will do like, everybody will need to bring it with them to all their activities. Counselors will make sure they fill them up before activities start. At meals, everybody has to have at least one, I recommend even at least 2 cups of water before they have any sort of like juice or milk or anything like that. And then alternating like cup of juice, cup of water, cup of juice, cup of water. But yeah, we definitely make sure that we pay attention to how much water people are taking in, and because we want to avoid dehydration as much as possible.
If your kid takes supplements, vitamins, probiotics, etc., does that have to go through the health office? Can they take those on their own?
Good question. So the question was, if the camper takes supplements or vitamins or anything like that, does that have to go through the infirmary, or can they just take that on their own in the cabin? So any sort of medication, vitamin, supplement, anything like that does need to be kept in the infirmary. So they can't like take their own like vitamin C or anything like that. And that said, anything that the medical staff administers does have to come with a doctor's order. So it has to have like a prescription. So I know for a long time we had some issues with like folks that take like melatonin, but that's now a part of like our standing orders. So that doesn't need a doctor's order anymore. But if they take any sort of other kind of supplement or vitamin, then you will just need to get a doctor's order in order for the medical staff to be able to administer. If they don't have that order, then they won't be able to administer the supplements. So any medication, whether that's like a full prescription medication or supplements, everything has to have some sort of prescription doctor's order attached to it.
Will you remind the kids to put sunscreen on?
Same, yeah. Will we remind kids to put sunscreen on? Same thing as the water. You know, you always have your name tag, your sunscreen, and then your water bottles as well. So sunscreen, for the younger kids, they might need a little bit of help applying it, but everybody will at least be reminded about like wearing their sunscreen. And if they run out, we have like a small camp store with like the very basic essentials, and sunscreen is one of those things. So they can, if they run out of sunscreen, they can get some more.
If my child cries and asks to go home, will you contact us?
If my child cries and asks to go home, will you contact us? First time, no. Third time, probably still not. If it's getting kind of to the point where it's very disruptive to like their experience or the other kids in the cabin, then yes, we would contact you. Really, like if it's something that we're seeing on every single morning report and I'm having to go in and talk to them, at that point, yes, we would probably call you. But if a kid just says it like on the first night and the counselor like handles it, then we wouldn't call you. It'd really only be if like I was starting to get involved because it was like a severe case. That's when we would reach out to you and let you know kind of what's going on. But for the most part, it's kind of like no news is good news kind of a thing.
Who do we contact about dietary/other things?
Yeah.
Also, when/how often are pictures posted?
All right. So first question, who do we contact about dietary special like food needs? So you'll include that on the health history form, if they have any special diets. And then if you have like how I mentioned before, like severe stuff or like you really need to talk to it, just reach out to us. I don't know, is the contact stuff still up on the screen? It's not. Okay. So it's just info@friendlypines.com. Or if you go to our website, you can see our phone number, all that kind of stuff. But just reach out to one of us and we can work that through with you. But yeah, just send us an email, give us a call, and we can help you with any like severe special stuff. If they're just a vegetarian or if they just they can't drink milk or something, like you don't need to call us unless you'd like to. But if it's like they're gluten-free, they're celiac, they're dairy-free, and they don't eat any meat kind of a thing, and they can't have beans, and they can't have, soy, like it's like extreme, like then we would want to kind of talk to you about that. So, but if it's just like one of those things, then they're pretty much set, and you would just indicate that on the health history. And then what was the other question?
When/how often are pictures posted?
When/how often are pictures posted? So, barring any technical internet issues, we will post pretty much every single day by 5 o'clock. So we have our photographer, Lauren. She's been, I think this is her like 11th summer. She's been really, really great over the last decade. And she posts a lot of pictures and gets a lot of great pictures and posts them online. That said, we are in a rural setting, and especially around monsoon season, if the power goes out, the internet goes out, so we might not be available, like it might not be possible to post the pictures, but we do our best to always post them by 5 o'clock. And you can go like on our website to view them. So
can we please restate the winners?
Yeah.
Reed Burris, Gabriella Reed, and Daisy Meeks.
Reed Burris, Gabriella Reed, and Daisy Meeks.
Perfect. Do they get other beverages like juice or milk?
Do they get other beverages like juice or milk? So sometimes, for the most part, it's just going to be water, but occasionally we might have like lemonade or like punch, maybe like chocolate milk or something like that. But for the most part, I would say it's just water.
Should they have a small backpack to carry around all day for the activities, to carry water bottles and anything else like an EpiPen or sunscreen?
Should they have a small backpack to carry around every day to carry stuff like water bottle, EpiPen, sunscreen, all that kind of stuff? It's up to them if they, if they want to carry their water bottle like on a little strap, or if they want to carry it in a backpack, or even do like a hydration backpack with like a Camelback. That's totally up to them. As with even just the water bottle, as with everything, just the more stuff you bring, the more opportunities for things to get lost. But so short answer is it's up to you, I guess, if you want to send them with a backpack. It's not required, but it's sometimes useful, but it's not necessary. I don't know. I don't know if I'm answering the question, but it's really kind of up to you in the camper if they want to use a backpack and bring a backpack. I would guess most kids don't use a backpack, but there are some kids that do, or even just like a little belt pack, like fanny pack kind of thing, that works too. But, just at least something to keep the water bottle with them might be the most useful thing. But, yeah, I guess it's up to your discretion is the short answer to that.
Daily showers. Is it like a gym bathroom with several stalls? Do they need slippers and robes? Toiletry bag.
Good question. So daily showers. So we keep a shower log, and we recommend everybody do at least every other day. So the way the cabins are set up, there's a toilet, shower, and sink inside the cabin. So it's like one stall or whatever for the shower. We do have a couple like external bathhouse places, but still it's like private. It's not like a line of shower heads on one wall and they're all in one place together. Do they need bathrobes and slippers? Probably not. They can bring flip-flops to wear in the shower. We don't allow any open-toed shoes outside of the cabin, so it would be just for inside the cabin. But they're welcome to bring shower shoes and that kind of thing. And then was there one more after that? One more?
You got it.
I got it. Okay. Yeah. So showers. Hopefully that covered everything.
Do we serve chicken nuggets?
Do we serve chicken nuggets? I don't think. Not typically. Yeah, typically we don't. For the most part, like everything we have at camp is like homemade. So we don't do a lot of like, dumping out frozen chicken nuggets on the baking sheet and putting those in the oven. Like, for the most part, it's all kind of like homemade from scratch cooking. So hopefully, I don't know if that's a good or not so good answer for whoever asked that. If they like chicken nuggets, sorry. But if they don't like chicken nuggets, then there you go.
Should campers be sent with cash?
Great question. Should campers be sent with cash? So no, you do not need to send any sort of money or anything like that with them to have them utilize the camp store. We will keep track of any purchases that they make, and then we'll send a statement at the end of the summer with what they bought in the store. And again, it's really just basic essentials that we sell at cost. So like it's like little tubes of toothpaste, toothbrush, brush, sunscreen, postage stamps, all that kind of stuff. They're not going to go crazy and go on a big shopping spree and free for all kind of a thing. We do sell our apparel in the camp store, but if any kid wants to buy like a sweatshirt or something, we'd reach out to you first before we let them purchase the sweatshirt. But if they need new shampoo, we'll put that on their store account, and then we'll just charge the credit card that we have on file at the end of the summer.
Two questions that are kind of similar. What came of the bus travel options? Can we travel to and from camp?
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal?
So we will have a bus option for departure days only for Adventure Week, Session 1, and then at the end of the 2-week session. So Session 1, Session 2, Session 3, and that's the B weeks of 1-week sessions. So if you have an A session, you'll be doing cars both ways. All campers will get dropped off at camp. And then if anybody would like to do the bus, there'll be a departure day bus that will take you to Phoenix and do a drop-off. It's like at Tatum and Bell, at the Walmart on Tatum and Bell. And that'll be for departure days only. So there's 4 buses, Adventure Week, Session 1, Session 2, Session 3, and then the B 1-week sessions coincide with that as well. And that's it. Okay, well, there we go. Hopefully we answered any questions you had, any and all questions you had. So if you do think of anything else, Adam and I are here every day. We're here weekdays, 8 to 5, and you can give us a call. If anybody needs to make any updates to their credit card information, you can call us, and we'll take that over the phone. We prefer if you don't email us. That's just like a security reason. Don't email us your credit card information. But give us a call and we can update that information before next week's final tuition payment date. But yeah, if you have any other questions, give us a call, send us an email, follow us on social media. And then if you know anybody that would like to work at camp or would be a good counselor, send them our way. We're still looking. So but thank you so much for everybody that attended. We are planning on doing another one of these actually in the fall, kind of towards the beginning of the enrollment season. So make sure you're on our mailing list to get information about that. It'll be pretty much the same thing what we did today, but it'll be a lot earlier than what we do. Normally we just do things in the spring. So just keep an eye out on that, or if you have any friends that are interested in sending their kids to camp and didn't attend tonight's session, they can join us maybe in the fall. So but yeah, we're really excited for this coming summer and for all of you to join us. And yeah, thank you so much for taking time out of your Monday night to hang out with us, and we hope we hope we answered all of your questions. So, thanks so much.